Crimson Trace introduces a line of feature-rich world-class rifle scopes. This new line features 8 custom-designed reticles for specific applications, as well as a full lifetime warranty on all scopes. Find out more at crimsontrace.com.
Welcome to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, where a right is always a right, not a privilege.
Hey, welcome back to Gun Talk. Tom Gresham here. If you'd like to join us, 866-TALK-GUN, or just dial Tom Talk Gun. If you have a gun you want to know something about, one you just bought you want to tell me about, that's cool. Or if you just want to talk about, hey, I just took somebody to the range and introduced them to shooting, and it was fun. Absolutely. And oh, by the way, if you've just stumbled upon this show and you don't really like guns, and you think there ought to be more gun control, you know what? You can move to the front of the line. And here's the deal. If you're new here, you don't know. I'm not going to shout you down. I'm not going to cut you off. I am going to require a level of civility, and we can have a conversation. But I would like to know why you don't like guns, why you think there ought to be more gun control laws, and which gun control laws should we have that we don't currently have. Absolutely. Come on in. 866-TALK-GUN. Now imagine you have a gun store, actually a couple of locations, and they're successful, and you have training, and you're teaching an entire community how to be safe with guns and how to protect themselves, and a local media says, hey, we'd like to do a story on you, and they come out and they do the interview, and it's all ready to go, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're not going to be able to do that because, yeah, we got some political pressure. While you may not be surprised, I think maybe our next guest was Geneva Solomon, joins us from Redstone Firearms. Geneva, that's pretty much what happened to you, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
Okay, so give the story. How did this thing come about?
So my husband and I, Jonathan Solomon and I, we own 2 gun stores here in Southern California. Mm-hmm. And there's a big festival out here called the Los Angeles Taste of Soul. It's predominantly Black and African American that attends this festival, about 50,000 plus people in a day. And so we applied to go to this festival called a Taste of Soul, to let them know, hey, we're about gun education. We just don't put firearms in people's hands. We're all about proper and responsible gun ownership, and we want to have a booth there. They were
I should explain. And oh, by the way, it is an African-American owned company, and you cater to that community, so it's a perfect fit, right?
Correct. Yeah, we cater to all demographics, but most of the people that do come through our door are Black or African-American, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
And so the Taste of Soul, they were excited to the point that they approved our application almost instantly. And then they got us over to the LA Sentinel and said, we want to write a highlighted story about you guys and what you do at your store. So that happened. The editor did a phenomenal job on staying on message about how we teach responsible gun ownership, how we're big in the community on being there for people in our community and teaching them the legal way to purchase ammo and a handgun here in California. They wrote a story about us. It only lasted on their website about 8 hours, and it had to be taken down due to political pressure from a group called Mothers in Action, as well as they just said political pressure. They didn't give names, but we can assume who it was.
All right. Who do you assume it actually was?
We do assume it was probably Maxine Water, maybe Cory Booker's camp, because there was an article in that newspaper just a few days before about gun control measures and Cory Booker's plan on gun control. And that newspaper does sit in Maxine Waters' district.
All right, it's the LA Sentinel, and it is an African-American owned newspaper, and it's an important newspaper in that community there. And for them to come in and say, hey, we like what you're doing, we want to tell the world about it, this is a great story, and then to get shut down, it's that old question, how did that make you feel?
We were upset. We were super excited. We actually had a range day scheduled that we scheduled a year ago on the same day as the festival. So we canceled that range day. We were gearing up on, marketing to get out there and educate people. Obviously, we can't take guns out there, but we were just taking, my husband and I were going to go out there with the booth and just provide people with information. And so we were just really hurt that people in our own community were telling us we can't come out there and just give information.
So what has happened since this? I mean, news came out about the LA Sentinel spiking this story, pulling it off their website, and the things that are happening to you. And so what's been the reaction, and what are you hearing from people?
We've actually gotten a lot of support. A lot of people that read the LA Sentinel paper that are our Redstone family members. We call our customers our family members. They reached out to them via email, inundated them with phone calls to the point that the phone call, they had to delete the phone number. The emails had to be, they were bounced back. They shut the email off.
Oh, my.
Some people canceled their subscription because there's a need for the information that my husband and I give out in our community. It's a lack of education, and we're not promoting gun violence at all. We understand, gun violence in our communities, but we also believe that there is a gap in education, and that's what we are wanting to provide to people in our community.
Tell us about Redstone Firearms. Tell us about the stores and the training you guys do.
So our motto is consult, educate, and train. When you come into a Redstone Firearms store, we're going to consult you through that firearm purchasing process. We're just not big on, hey, look at this gun. You pay $700 and you're out the door. We're going to ask you some questions, get to know you a little bit, understand your budget. After that, we're going to make sure that you're educated. And that's by way of handgun cleaning classes, trauma cleaning classes, even how to build your own AR-15 class. And then once a month or twice a month, we do have a gun club under the National African American Gun Association. We get out to the range once or twice a month, and we train you. And our training classes are actually not that expensive. On the market, I think training classes are about $100 to $150. We only charge $65 so that there's access to people that maybe don't have a high disposable income so they can come out and do the training.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot, and it's absolutely not fair, okay? Just start off with that. All right. But as a black-owned company, and a lot of your customers are black, African-American, my sense, looking at this over the years, is that there seems to be more and more interest within the African-American community in not just shooting, but particularly with taking responsibility of self-defense, providing protection for their own families. It used to be, again, my sense, as a guy who's white, okay, that a lot of the black community was kind of anti-gun, and I think I see that changing, and I'm wondering what you're seeing in your stores.
Well, I will say I'm only 38, so I can't give a long history on what
you're
things
just
were
a kid.
18 years ago. But I can tell you from when we first opened our doors 5 years ago to where we are now, the interest has definitely increased, and it's in a positive manner. People in our community want to know what is the first step, A to Z. They just don't want to put a gun in their hand. They actually want to be educated. So the services we provide are needed. And I can honestly tell you, when I first went to go buy my first gun, this education was not there. And I had a terrible experience buying my first gun as a black woman, didn't know what I was doing. And so we built our brand really based on that experience.
Yeah, and it's kind of that combination of, I think women traditionally have gotten maybe often not the greatest experience in gun stores, kind of that's okay, little lady, I'll just tell you what to do. And then you realize, oh, man, I really didn't get treated well. And so there's that thing going on, right?
And then you add in the fact that I'm black. Yeah.
Yes.
It was definitely an experience that I'll never forget. And I make sure that every woman, regardless if you're black, white, Asian, if you're brand new to firearms, I'm going to make you comfortable, talk you through the process. And that way, when you walk out of here, you walk out with homework, and you walk out with my phone number for text messaging, but I'm going to make sure that you're a responsible gun owner when you walk out my door.
That sounds good. So where are your stores?
We have a store in Burbank. That's our corporate store, Burbank, California. And then we also have a second store in Ontario, California. You can find us on the internet at redstonefirearms.com, on Instagram at Redstone Firearms, as well as Facebook at Redstone Firearms.
Perfect. Geneva, I thank you. I appreciate what you're doing. Thank you for that. And I wish you lots of luck. And I hope that the aftermath of all of this is that you end up getting more exposure than you would have gotten in the LA Sentinel.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All right, you take care. All right, open lines for you right now, 866-TALK-GUN. Have you ever had that weird, bad, uncomfortable experience in a gun store where you feel like you're being talked at instead of talked with? Love to hear that story. 866-TALK-GUN. Used guns can be a great value, but you have to know who you're buying from. What if you could buy quality used guns with a lifetime warranty from the Internet's largest online reseller? That's what you get at DuriesGuns.com. They stand behind every firearm purchase for life. If you have a problem, they'll either fix or replace your gun. Pistols, rifles, shotguns, and more. Check out their inventory today at DuriesGuns.com.
For 36 years, the U.S. Sportsmen's Alliance has been fighting to protect hunting, fishing, and trapping for sportsmen from coast to coast. Today, we are under constant attack from extremist animal rights groups who want to end your ability to hunt in the U.S. Join us to protect our sporting heritage and our way of life outdoors. To join or for more information on how you can help, go to ussportsman.org. That's ussportsman.org.
It's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. I'm Alan Gottlieb, founder of the Second Amendment Foundation. When someone says we don't need that kind of gun, remind them the Founding Fathers determined what rights our Constitution should protect. There's a world of difference between rights and needs. It is not the function of government to tell us what we need or what we don't. Certainly no one needs an assault rifle or a Saturday Night Special, or for that matter, no one needs a Corvette with a high-capacity horsepower engine capable of speeds to 150 miles per hour. But in the hands of honest, responsible individuals, we have the right of choice. We have the right to read books others don't like. We have the right to listen to any radio program we choose. We have the right to dress the way we want to. We also have the right to own firearms of our choice. So the next time someone tells you you don't need something, tell them it's the Bill of Rights, not the Bill of Needs. Join the Second Amendment Foundation today so that this message and our Bill of Rights might live. Call 425-454-7012. That's 425-454-7012.
Want your next gun purchase to be fast and hassle-free? Well, at galleryofguns.com, you can search through thousands of models from our huge firearms inventory. Find a great offer from a local dealer that includes all fees and taxes. And there's no need to arrange a transfer. Gallery of Guns takes a small deposit on your credit card, and your gun will be at your chosen dealer in as little as 48 hours. Plus, your gun will be covered by our guaranteed lifetime replacement warranty. Galleryofguns.com. Search, find, buy. It really is just that easy.
Suppose they held a big meeting about guns and gun policy and decided not to invite anybody who knew anything about guns. Well, it's exactly what the Democrats did. In Vegas this week, they held a big get-together with most of the Democrat candidates for president, all of them trying to outdo each other on how repressive they could be for gun rights. It was kind of a big nothing burger. It actually didn't, I think it was streamed maybe. I don't think it was carried on TV. But it was, another one of those examples of within the Democrat Party, the race is on to see who can strip away more of your constitutional rights with nobody pushing back much. So it's kind of like, okay, got it. Let's see where you are. That's what it is. I put out if you get the podcast version of this, you already know. But if you don't, I put out a podcast this week about the Amber Guyger case. She's the police officer in Dallas who was convicted and now sentenced. She walked into what she thought was her apartment. It was somebody else's apartment. And she shot and killed the man who was in his own apartment. She was in uniform, but off duty. She was convicted of murder, not negligent homicide, not manslaughter, but murder. Sentenced to 10 years, which is actually a light sentence for murder. And the reason I want to talk about that is because there are lessons for those of us who carry guns for self-defense. I want to go through a few of those lessons here. First of all, understand in many cases, I would offer probably in most cases, the district attorney is not after justice. The district attorney is after the strongest conviction he or she can get. Not looking for justice, not looking for what's right, racking up a score. Sorry, if you're a district attorney and that offends you, I don't care. It's what I see on my side. And honestly, if you're a lawyer and if you're working in a DA's office, you know I'm telling the truth. May not apply everywhere, but it sure applies a lot of places. So, first of all, understand that the system is not there to protect you. When you get into the system, you're going to have to fight your way through it as hard as you can. Which brings me to what happened here. First of all, Amber Guyger walks to what she thinks is her apartment, and the door is ajar. That is, it is open. It wasn't open when she left. She hears somebody shuffling around inside, so she was asked on the stand, why'd you go in? She said, well, that's the only option that came to mind. May I suggest to you that you have other options in mind? For instance, if there's nobody in there, if you know you don't have any family members in there, you come home and your door is ajar. Your door is open. Your door has been broken into. Don't go into the building. Yeah, but there's my stuff. I don't care. But my TV, I don't care. But I've got my gun collection. I don't care. This woman is going to prison for a decade. She killed someone. What's your stuff worth? Is it worth 10 years in prison? Yeah, but I wouldn't. Yes, that's what she thought too. She thought she was doing the right thing. Why would you go in there? Situational awareness, people. Situational awareness. She's texting explicit messages back and forth with the man that she's having an affair with, a married man. Her mind is not on what she's doing. Once again, get your head up, put the phone down, pay attention. Situational awareness. Be in the yellow zone. Know what's going on around you. You come up to the door. I actually have a friend who's going through one of the scenarios. She's doing a whole bunch of training at Gunsight, and they're in the shoot house. And said, all right, here's the deal. You come home, and the door's ajar, the door's been kicked in, and there's people inside. He says, okay. I said, ready? Go. He says, okay. He turns around and he walks off. He said, what are you doing? He says, I'm not going in there. What do you mean you're not going in there? I'm not going in there. I'm calling police. And in this competition, he won. Now, they ended up making him go back in, but they said, yeah, you get a special prize for being the smartest guy here. Everybody else went charging in there, guns blazing, ready to take on the world. Yeah, you know what? Guess what happens at a gunshot? People get shot. In a gunfight, people get shot. And it might not be just the bad guy. Just because you're the good guy doesn't mean that you're bulletproof. And if you go in and shoot somebody, you could have a DA who decides, that was not justified. So, point one, let's learn from this, okay? Then she goes in, she points her gun at this guy, and she says, well, he got up and started moving toward me. He's eating ice cream, and she shot him and killed him. She thinks he's in her apartment. And from all accounts, this was a really nice guy. CPA, family guy, just a nice guy. Just killed him. Another point. Why is she going to jail? Why a conviction for murder? Well, I think she probably had really bad legal representation. She was asked on the stand, when you pointed your gun at him and you shot him squarely in the chest, you intended to kill him, right? And she said, yes. If you've taken any of these important classes that I talk about, you have been trained, you know that's not why we shoot somebody in self-defense. It's not to kill somebody, it's to stop them. And when she said, I intended to kill him, I think that's when it all went south for her. Spend every penny you have in the world on legal representation if you have to. If you're smart, you belong to a program. And we talk about the Citizens Legal Defense Association, the group that we have on the show an awful lot. They can provide you with a good attorney, somebody who knows. Look, here's the deal. A lot of criminal defense attorneys have actually never defended anybody who was innocent. They actually never defended anybody who shouldn't go to jail, and they don't actually know how. So you need a good attorney for that. The other thing is she had, let's see, on her, because she's in uniform, she had radio, she had taser, she had pepper spray, and she went to the gun first. You probably don't have those things with you. So the tendency is to go from nothing to gun because you don't have any intermediate steps. My suggestion to you is this. In the escalation of force, the force continuum, if you will, the thing that should come before gun is run. Well, that doesn't sound manly. Yeah, I don't care. Get away. Don't be there. In this case, at any given time, she could have turned around and gone down the hall. Okay? Could have boogied. First of all, don't go in the door. That would have been a good thing. When she goes in and sees somebody who she thinks is in her apartment, turn around and run. Oh, that would have been a good thing. Could have run down the hallway, stop, turn around, get your gun out, and wait to see what happens. Maybe you could have avoided shooting somebody. And then, of course, the whole aftermath of after you shoot, what do you say? This is where you get good training. The Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. It's the armedcitizensnetwork.org. They have, when you join, you get DVDs of training, what to do, what to say, how to conduct yourself, what's involved. I think it's worth every penny. I have belonged to it, spending my own money for myself and my wife for many years now. And I look at this case and go, wow, if she could have had better representation, she probably would have been better off. And yes, she screwed up by the numbers. But I just offer, and look, I'm sorry for her. I'm really sorry for the family of the man she shot, killed. But let's learn from that. Let's make it a positive for us. Let's come away being smarter and safer and knowing what we're doing. And make that commitment to simply be better at this stuff, okay? What's your take on this? When you heard this story, when you've been following the news, 866-TALK-GUN, or just call me at Tom Talk Gun.
This is Milo Lardbottom, Junior Under Assistant Deputy to the Assistant Director of Deputy Affairs for the Department of Homeland Security, with a special message for listeners of Tom Gresham's Gun Talk. We know who you are. We know where you are. You're right by your radio. We have special cameras that can see into your radio. I have a special monitor built into my aluminum foil helmet. We are watching you. So don't try anything funny, Buster.
Hey, welcome back to Gun Talk. Tom Gresham here. Our number is 866-TALK-GUN. We'll be happy to have you call in. If you don't like guns, just let me know. I'd like to find out why. Line 1, Vance is with us out of Reno, Nevada. Vance, City Council meeting in L.A. What's going on?
Yeah, over at Bearing Arms, and I first saw it on Breitbart, but Los Angeles City Councilman ready citywide gun ban. Granted, Ontario and Burbank are not part of L.A., but I hope they are watching as to what happens when they put this into place. I'm not saying if, when they put it into place. Because now we've got Oak Grove, I think it's Oak Grove, Illinois. I think that outlawed possession of firearms some 30-some-odd years ago.
Oh, Morton Grove.
Morton Grove, thank you. Yeah. And then now you've got L.A., and this all dovetails with Beto O'Rourke letting the cat out of the bag. Mm-hmm. And I, at one time, had access to magazines, gun magazines, going back into the 50s, and I'm only 64, and I remember reading articles about them trying to institute this kind of stuff even way back then. Oh, yeah, way back in the mid-50s. I've got those articles as well. Let me just jump in here because I'm looking at this article on Bearing Arms, and City Councilman Paul Koritz is pushing a complete citywide ban on the possession of guns defined as, quote, assault weapons, unquote, under California law, but says it could take up to a year before the measure is signed into law. This is part of the whole, and look, I appreciate the call, Vance. I've got them stacked up. I wanted to say something here. This is part of what I've been talking about for 25 years. If they can get the concept out there
that there are some guns that we can agree are bad guns, and then everything else is a good gun. If you agree in any form or fashion to the very idea that there are some guns that are the bad guns, they have won. Because, as we have seen from their past actions, the list of bad guns expands and expands and expands and expands until they've gotten all the guns. That's what's happened every single time. There's never been a time when they've established the concept of a bad gun and haven't tried to expand the category. That's why people say, well, can't you just... No, I can't just compromise on this, because you're asking me to admit or to say that some guns are bad and some guns are good. That's idiotic. That's foolish on the face of it. So no, we're not doing that. Line 5, Charles is with us out of Concordia, Kansas. Charles, the Amber Guyger case.
Yeah, I think I actually had an opportunity to listen in on a lot of stuff, you know, they were talking about it out of Dallas on WBAP or something like that. And I think this lady got a raw deal. I think, and the reason I think that is because the lead investigator, who is a Texas Ranger and is himself black, said that he did not believe any crime had been committed, and the judge would not allow the jury to hear that. And I think what happened was this poor lady was I mean, it was a terrible tragedy for everybody all around. But I think what happened was she was a victim of 12 cowards on the jury who feared the torch and pitchfork brandishing lynch mob that was outside the front door.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think it would have been more appropriate for her to be found guilty of either manslaughter or negligent homicide? Yes.
More appropriate, yes, but I really don't think, just going from what this investigator said, who obviously the guy knows a lot, since he knows more than anybody else, I have no reason to doubt what he said. You know, it reminds me somewhat of the Boston Massacre, where the British soldiers were accused of murdering these poor unarmed colonists, and who defended them? John Adams. And the jury in his day, who was made up of colonists themselves, even though they were no doubt prejudiced against the British, had enough character and decency in view of the facts to acquit those men.
All right, I know, I understand, but she went into the wrong house and shot somebody and killed the guy. You can't get off on that, right?
Well, as I was listening to it, there is a thing called mistake of fact, which I'm not a lawyer, okay, so I only know what I heard. And I just, if you really believe something is a certain way, even when it isn't, you're given lenience because of that. And, I agree with you. She should have done a bunch of stuff. But who knows how fast that situation developed. And the guy wasn't sitting on his couch peacefully eating ice cream, and she walks in, and there he is sitting there, and she just plugs him.
He was sitting when she came in, but then he got up because it's like, hey, what's this woman walking in here? And she's got her gun out already.
And there was dope in his system, and we all know, when that happens, some people, think they're invincible.
So what? You don't get to shoot somebody because you walked into the wrong place and you think it's your... I mean, everything she did was wrong. And I think it probably should have been manslaughter. I don't think it should have been murder, but she absolutely should not have gotten off for it. There's no way in the world. I mean, you and I wouldn't have gotten... If we walked into that room and weren't wearing a uniform, we wouldn't have gotten off on that. I mean, look, and I got to keep running here. I'm up against my break here. I appreciate the call, sir. Let's see. John, Brian, Paul, don't go anywhere. I am going to get to you. Hold on. Please have patience. Quick break here. We'll be right back.
The Ruger pistol that started it all is now even better. The Ruger Mark IV has the same great look as the Mark III, but now its simple one-button takedown means less time taking apart your gun and more time shooting it. Disassemble it in seconds for no hassle cleaning. Learn more about the Target, Hunter, and 2245 Light Mark IV series models at Ruger.com. The Ruger Mark IV, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
Hi, this is Ryan Gresham with Gun Talk. Have you ever heard about a gun giveaway and thought, I can't win that stuff. I live in a state where I can't own it. Well, visit guntalk.com/win to enter the Legal Everywhere giveaway presented by Timney Triggers. One grand prize with more than $7,300 in prizes, including 2 handguns, triggers, holster packages, tactical gear, optics, and more. Residents of all 50 states can enter. That's right, California, Massachusetts, Maryland, those 5 counties in Illinois, everyone. Prizes from Axion Optics, Colt, Crossbreed Holsters, DeSantis, Proper, Timney Triggers, and Walther. Enter now through November 1st at guntalk.com/win. That's guntalk.com/win.
Since 1937, Ducks Unlimited has led the charge on wetlands and waterfowl conservation. Wetlands reduce the effects of flooding and recharge our drinking water, but perhaps most importantly, they allow us to experience what makes the outdoors so great. Band together to rescue our wetlands.
The old saying, "There is strength in numbers," holds true when fighting unmeritorious prosecution or a lawsuit after a self-defense shooting. The Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network has over 17,000 members and $2 million for our members' legal expenses after an act of self-defense. Shouldn't you be part of the network too? Learn more at armedcitizensnetwork.org or call us at 360-978-5200.
This is not good. During the break, I'm over on the Dury's website, durysguns.com, and they got all these cool used guns, and I found one that I seriously want and been looking for. And no, I'm not going to tell you which one it is because you'll go buy it. So there, durysguns.com. Let's see here. John, line 4, Salina, Kansas. You're up, sir. John, are you there? Okay, put him back on hold. We're going to come back to John because we want to talk to him. Let's talk to Brian on line 3 out of Memphis, Tennessee. Hey, Brian, you're up, sir. What's cooking?
Yes, sir. My question is about 22 rimfire accuracy, and it seems that the standard velocity and a lot of the premium ammo is less than standard, like the match grade stuff. Well, I guess what I'm getting at is the hyper velocity stuff that you can buy, is it, given the same bullet weights, is it almost like they're trying to outrun the lands and grooves? It's like trying to put a heavier bullet in a rifle that's not designed for it. Because I want to know.
Yeah, the reason that target ammo is lower velocity, my understanding is that if you can keep it under the speed of sound, it doesn't go transonic. Bullets get wobbly, if you will. It's not a technical term. When they hit that transonic level. Now, if you're shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor somewhere out in that 800-yard range, it's going to go from supersonic to subsonic. So you hit that transonic area, and it gets a little bit wobbly and a little bit less accurate. So I think that the reason that they go lower velocity is to keep it, under that level. Now, you're certainly right that, and this, we're going back to the centerfires now, with longer bullets, you need a little bit faster twist rate. That's why we're seeing the high BC bullets, 645 Creedmoors and such, have faster twist rates. I don't know, does that help at all?
Well, no, I was trying to compare those to 22, long rifle,
right?
And I was just wondering why given the same bullet weight, even though they have a lot more powder behind them, why those, like the Vipers and the,
they're
the
just
other
not
things,
as accurate.
Why?
Yeah, the hypervelocity ammo is just not as accurate. And again, target ammo is almost always subsonic. It's somewhere less than 1,100 feet per second muzzle velocity. And I think it's because they don't want it to go supersonic. I think that's right. Somebody can call in and correct me on that. Let's drop down to, let's see, Paul, Edmond, Oklahoma on 2. Hey, Paul, welcome to Gun Talk.
Yeah, I used to always brag to my friends that you never see the people at the NASCAR races kneeling, but it seems like that they're not taking any gun ads anymore, and same way with Under Armour. It really bothers me when these companies are persuaded to, not take gun ads, or I don't know if there's anything we can do about that.
Well, there is. You let them know. If NASCAR, if viewership of NASCAR goes down on TV, if you stop watching NASCAR and you write the network that's running NASCAR and say, just want to let you know I'm not watching NASCAR because they refuse to take gun ads. They're taking this virtue signaling position that basically brands me and the things that I think are important to be somewhat less than, to be somewhat un-American, and I will not participate, and I will not give you my money, and I will not give you my time. And it's same with Under Armour and same with these other companies, same with Walmart. If you let them know, now, does it change them? If you and I do it, no. But if they got 10 million emails that said, I will no longer purchase your product because of this. I will no longer go into your store. This morning, CBS Sunday Morning ran an interview with the CEO of Dick's. And he said, yeah, we lost $250 million when we took the guns out. And we thought we would. And he's okay with that, which if I were a stockholder, I would be livid. Unbelievable. And, what can we do? Well, 2 things, I guess, is let them know. First of all, you don't spend your money there. Don't spend your time there. And then let them know, and then let them know next week, and then let them know the next week. It's kind of like, okay, it's part of my Second Amendment deal. I'm going to spend 15 minutes a day, and I'm going to send, a half a dozen emails to these companies, and then I'm going to send half a dozen emails to my political people, like the next day, and then I'm going to do this. It's like, okay, that's going to be my activism. If we do nothing, and I guess this goes to your point, Paul, if we do nothing, they think, oh, wow, nobody cared. The gun people don't really amount to anything. We did that, and it didn't cost us any money at all. We got no pushback on it at all. If the viewership of NASCAR goes down 20%, then the network says, wow, we can't charge as much. We actually have to pay people back. We have to do make goods on the advertising because we promised them X viewership, and we didn't come up with that. And we're getting all these emails from people that say the reason we're not watching NASCAR anymore is because of NASCAR's position, their anti-Second Amendment position, their anti-gun position, their anti-gun owner position, their anti-American position. I have no problem whatsoever letting them know. No, you can't do that slap against me in my culture and what I think is right and what I think it means to be an American and just take this abject slap against me and get away with it and think that I am not going to respond to that. People say, well, it's not that, well, I don't know if it's that big a deal to you. And everybody's got to figure out what their price is. You can't buy me, or you can't buy my principles with a TV show that shows people driving fast and turning left. Just kind of where I am on it. 866 Talk Gun. All right, back with you. Straight to the phones. Line 4, Joseph's in San Francisco. Hello, Joseph. Amber Guyger case. What are your thoughts?
Can you hear me?
I got you. Go ahead.
It seemed like the coverage that I heard, at least on the radio, about this whole story was so bad. I mean, if I'd have wrote that story, I would have wrote it at least with the relevant information, because it seemed like the whole point they were making about the case is whether or not she should have known she was in the right place or the wrong place. I don't have the facts. The garage, for example, is it marked? Is it not marked? The floor that she was on, is it marked? Is it not marked? They did, one story I heard on the radio did point out that there was a red mat in front of that apartment that's not in front of her apartment, but only in front of his apartment. So, okay, that's a clue right there. That's something different about where she was at. But the rest of the place, the rest of the approach, I have no clue. The writing is so bad on these stories. I don't have the relevant information to even make a decision on whether or not she should have known she was in the right place or wrong place, except the mat in front of that apartment. That's the only thing that.
Yeah. I guess I was getting a lot of my information from TV of we're looking at some of the testimony when she's being questioned, and maybe I watched a little bit more of it than some other folks, because I was kind of curious to see how the whole thing developed of, walking into the wrong place and then shooting the occupant and how that was going to develop. Because to me, it's one of those deals of, okay, you screwed up. Honestly, I think her attorney probably should have said, plead guilty to negligent homicide and we can get out of this, because it was, you killed the wrong person. You weren't. And here's the thing, and I'm thinking about this, Joseph. People say, well, was she in fear for her life? You know what? That's not a get-out-of-jail-free card. You can't just say, I was in fear for my life, but I screwed up everything else. You know what? Sometimes the fear is unreasonable, and sometimes you brought it on yourself. And, I think at least I will speak for myself. As a gun person, I don't think everybody gets a free pass on this stuff. And if you are irresponsible, and if your irresponsibility or your negligence causes harm, then you're on the hook for it. What do you think?
Well, it just seemed that the reporter that I heard on the radio, at least that supposedly was at the trial, just left out a bunch of important stuff that I would have included if it had been me reporting on it. It's just, I'm a black guy. I'm in California. I'm like,
I understand.
Well, if this had happened to me, I still would have wanted to know, how even if I had survived, let's say somebody shot at me.
And you make a good point. I think a lot of times the reporting on this stuff is really, really awful, and you have to dig. And that's what I do. I just go online and search, and I'll read all these dozens of stories about it. And I particularly like to go to the local stories, in this case, the Dallas stories. You're going to get a lot better information. In the 1 minute we got left, Trent on line 3, Toledo, Ohio. Trent, I got 1 minute. Dive in, please.
For a home defense gun and trying to preserve my hearing, which would be better, a 9mm or 45 ACP?
Makes no difference whatsoever. They're both too loud. Both of them will damage your hearing. So here's what a lot of friends do, people who I know. They keep a pair of electronic earmuffs next to on their nightstand with their pistol. I'm not kidding. And if they hear a bump in the night, they put on their electronic earmuffs, turn them up, so now they can hear really well. It's amplified. You can hear what's going on in the room beyond. Also, you are provided with hearing protection. That's really important if you're going to be using an AR-15, which a lot of people are using these days as their home defense gun. But choosing between a 9 and a 45 on the basis of noise, just pick the one that you like or that you shoot best. They're both loud enough to permanently damage your hearing, and so you really need to be wearing hearing protection anytime you can. John, don't go anywhere. I'm going to get you into the after show in just a second here. If you'd like to join us for the after show, call me now at 866-TALK-GUN, and be sure to check out the after show. You can listen to it with your Gun Dealio app. Make sure that you have Gun Dealio on your phone. Go to gundealio.com. In the meantime, go do some shooting and make yourself a Second Amendment advocate and activist.